This lecture we will study about CDM, clinical data management. So what is CDM? Is a critical process in clinical research which leads to generation of high quality. Clinical data management is a critical process in clinical research. So it's a part of clinical research which leads to generation of, इससे क्या होता है, एक चीज़ जनरेट होती है, और वो क्या चीज़ जनरेट होती है, हाई क्वालिटी, रिलायबल and statistically sound data from clinical trials. So whatever clinical trials we conduct, phase 1, 2, 3, 4, and whatever data that is generated from it, when it is made into a high quality, reliable and statistically sound data, then that all comes under clinical data management. So CDM ensures collection, very important, integration and availability of data at appropriate quality and cost. So what all they talk about? Collection, data को collect करना, integrate करना and available करना wherever it would be required at appropriate quality and cost, ना ज़्यादा high fi ना ज़्यादा low, and the quality is also well maintained. So CDM ensures what all things? CDM ensures collection, integration and finally what? Availability of data. It also supports the conduct, management and analysis of study or studies across the spectrum of clinical research as defined by NIH, National Institute of Health, US based. So they say, NIH states that it supports the conduct, how your clinical study is conducted, how it is managed, and the analysis of the whatever study that has been conducted across the spectrum of clinical research. The ultimate goal of CDM is to ensure that conclusions drawn from the research are well supported by the data. That is, it helps in validating the clinical trial as well. So the ultimate goal, that CDM is not just about organization, CDM is not just about time management, CDM is not just about cost effectiveness or quality data is produced. So by quality they means that whatever data is produced, it should support that whatever clinical trial conclusion you have reached at. Suppose I have reached that my 50 mg drug helps in the treatment of fever and dengue. So it means that my data, whatever data I have produced through clinical trials, should support this claim, this conclusion. As in, it helps in validating the conclusion that yes, I have supporting evidence. One may ensure the safety, and this is how safety is ensured, and boost in the assurance of the therapeutic effect. How? Because we said that we are looking for evidence based on our conclusion, that if I'm saying that yes, my drug works, does it really works? So it is how the safety is ensured, because I'm claiming that my drug is safe with least side effects, and the therapeutic effect is assured. Data management is involved in all aspects of processing, not just a particular thing. So all aspects of processing the clinical data, working with a range of computer applications, database systems to support collections, cleaning and management of subject or patient data. So data management सब चीज़ों में involved है in all aspects of the processing of clinical data, whether it's working with range of computer softwares or the database system to support collections, or you're working on the database systems, or you're cleaning and managing the subjects of patient data. What are other alternate definition for CDM? So CDM is the process. They say कि एक process है CDM of collecting, number 1 collecting, and number 2 managing what? Research data in accordance with the regulatory standards. ऐसा नहीं कि there are two people working, Ram and Sham, and then Sham thought of this organizational method and Ram of this. No, you have to work according to a regulatory standard, not as per your own will or SOPs. So process of collecting, so you collected the data from various sources, various trials, and you manage the research data with accordance with the regulatory standards to obtain quality information that is complete and error free. That is like a given thing, that it should be complete and it should be error free. Now what is the goal? The goal is to gather as much as data from analysis, as much as data as you can from the analysis as possible that adheres to the federal, state and local regulations. So I really like this definition, that adheres to the, so you're basically collecting all the research data, and that data should adhere to what all? The federal. Now federal here means central, state and local regulations. As the drive to fast track the development of pharmaceutical product continues to accelerate, regulatory entities have responded by requiring QA standards to be met in collecting data used in drug evaluation process. Now, what they said is, in order to fast track the development, in order to pace the development of that particular pharmaceutical product, to accelerate it so that it continues to accelerate it, regulatory entities have responded by requiring quality assurance standards to be met in collecting data. While you are collecting the data and managing it, the QA standards should be matched so that there should be error free data management, and in that turn it helps in accelerated drug development and evaluation process. Two such standards created by Clinical Data Interchange Standards Consortium CDICS are particularly vital to CDM. Now what are those two standards? So to fasten the process, they set up some QA standards by CDICS. Those were SDTMIG and C-. Now the study data tabulation model implementation guide. Study data tabulation model implementation guide for human clinical trials, currently mandated for use by the US FDA. So if you're working as per the guidelines written out by the US FDA, then study data tabulation model implementation guide is there for human clinical trials. And similarly, its counterpart in clinical data acquisition standard harmonization created a standard format for collecting data across studies so that the data submission can be more easily tracked and reviewed. What is this? Clinical data acquisition standards harmonization. Now the word harmonization is given. Wherever harmonization is mentioned, it means they're trying to do something universal, which helps to unify different rules at a global platform so that there be no confusion and time wastage while tracking different regulatory bodies. What here they are doing is they have created a standard format for collecting data across studies so that the data submission can be more easily tracked and reviewed. That is their purpose. Specialized softwares and applications are used in CDM to create audit trails that allow discrepancies to be minimized even in large and complex cities. So clinical trials है, उसका डेटा हमारे पास आया, हमें वो डेटा मैनेज करके ऐसा रिपोर्ट करना that it supports my clinical trial. So I have certain software for that data management. I have some softwares या एप्लीकेशंस जो CDM में हम यूज़ करते हैं ताकि एक ऑडिट ट्रेल क्रिएट हो सके. What does that audit trail does? Trail means what? A path followed. Audit means what? You are trying to review it. This way, the discrepancies are minimized even in large and complex clinical trials. Example के तौर पे ले तो first one is Oracle Clinical, second is Rave, third is eClinical Suite, Clinical Trial and Clin Trial and Macro. So how many? Oracle, Clin Trial, Macro, Clinical Suite, and Rave. Out of which Oracle is very famous, then Clin Trial and the Macro. So alternate definition. So it is a set of practices that handle information generated during medical research, and it aims to ensure that the data quality, integrity and compliance with the internal protocols and state regulations are met. So what they say that CDM, what we know as clinical data management is basically a set of principles. And what does that do is that it handles information. Information which was generated during medical research. And it aims to ensure, goal क्या है उसका, that is assures quality, integrity and compliance with internal SOPs and rule and state regulations, that is state FDA or any other regulatory body active in the state. So state regulations and internal protocols. The CDM process also helps in keeping, ये CDM के प्रोसेस से हमें क्या मदद मिलती है कीप करने में की clinical trials stakeholders on the same page. So if we have clinical data management, and this is a general point, that if you have managed pretty well, especially if it is a data, this data could be related to anything. Here right now it's related to clinical trials, then it's known as clinical data management. But any data that is managed well helps understand different parties and they stand on the same page, that is they have the same knowledge. It's not that any confusion is created. CDM plays a crucial role in evaluating the safety and effectiveness of the drugs. We studied this earlier, that it plays a crucial role in evaluating two things, the safety and effectiveness, that is the therapeutic value of drug, whatever it could be, drugs, diets, medical devices, etc. So if property handed, it significantly reduces the time required for a new medical product launch. If properly handled, sorry. So if CDM, that is clinical data management done at the time of clinical trials, if it is well handled, then it reduces the time required. Obviously, if you manage things well, then it's obviously going to make you punctual on time. End goal is to ensure trials are efficient, compliant and successful, whether across or several institutes. So you collect the data, you integrate it, and then you validate it. So this is the cycle of CDM. For example, about $3.6 million data points are generated during phase 3 clinical trials. Now, no matter how much data clinical researchers need to harness this information and make most of it, and CDM has appeared to address this. So 3.6 million data points are generated during phase 3 clinical trial, and how much ever you want, that clinical researcher needs to harness this information, make the most of it. You are asked in exam that you can study from 12 books, but is it possible to study from 12 books for a subject in an exam time? It's not. So I'm going to study at least 5 of them as much as I can so that I perform well. So now no matter how much data clinical researcher need to harness this information, make most of it, and CDM has appeared to address this problem only. So the objectives of CDM. So CDM ensures the integrity and quality of data being transferred from trial subjects to a database system. So integrity means that no data is leaked or is manipulated. Okay, so the integrity is maintained of the data, and the quality also obviously is maintained of the data, that you are not maintaining well the quality of the data, then it is going to impact your trial. So it ensures the integrity and quality of the data that is transferred from trial subject to database system, wherever the database system is, that the collected data is complete and accurate, so that results are correct as per the protocol requirements. Now what is happening because of this? Why are they ensuring integrity and quality? Next line. So that the collected data is complete, पहली चीज, and accurate, दूसरी चीज, so that results are correct as per the protocol requirement. So अब हमने data collection कर लिया, it should be complete and it should be accurate, therefore we need the quality and integrity to be perfect. Ensures that the trial database, whatever database system you are using for the trial, is a true representation of what took place in the trial. No manipulations are allowed. So the trial database is a true representation of what exactly happened in the trial. That database ensures that the database is sufficiently clean to support statistical analysis and its subsequent prevention and interpretations. Now key roles of CDM. Before moving that, we had a meet. So क्या होता है कि these are the key steps on how this whole process works of data management. So first is data design. Data collect होता है, data enter होता है, data validate होता है, clean up होता है, then analysis होता है, reporting and presentation. So what all things are included here? Data design होगा, collect होगा, system पे enter होगा या database में enter होगा, then validate होगा whether it's right or not as per the what the claim is and what the data is. Then the data cleanup is there. Then whatever data you have collected, they will analyze it, report it and present it finally. So अगर मैं इसको बोलूँ दूसरे शब्दों में, तो मैंने पहले डेटा इज़ कॉमन. सो हम ये ऐसे लिख सकते हैं कि क्या किया, डिज़ाइन करने के बाद क्या किया, कलेक्ट करने के बाद क्या किया, एंटर किया इन अ सिस्टम, एंटर के बाद क्या किया, वी वैलिडेटेड इट वेदर इट्स राइट और रॉन्ग, वैलिडेटेड. Then we cleaned up the data, whatever unnecessary I think data is not required. We did the analysis of it and finally reported and presented. So that is how the flow works of what happens in a data management. Now what are the key roles of CDM in a clinical trial? CDM चाहिए क्यों, key roles क्या है? So project manager, this is not about why we need CDM, it's about key roles of CDM in a clinical trial. So we have project manager, we have head data manager, we have data entry associate, clinical data programmer, clinical data associate and coordinator, clinical medical coder. So all these people, with the help of all these people, the team is made of CDM in a clinical trial. Now project manager, I'm going to explain only one. What are the key responsibilities of project manager? Overall, oversee all processes in clinical data management for specific trials, customer relationship management, project analysis and risk management, provide regular reports on budget recognition, resource management, manager in coordination project, understand and comply with company or CRO and customer specific standard operating procedures, management departments, and secondly, so they are saying provide training. You are going to provide training on firstly the operational techniques and activities undertaken within the data management department, and secondly company specific CDMS standard operating procedure. CDMS standard operating procedure. Ensure that projects are completed within the budget constraints, identification of training needs, plans for and creates necessary documentation to support internal and external audit and participate in such audits. Now, types of studies and various CDM systems. So clinical data management is basically of two types. First is paper based study and second is EDA study. Now paper based study के अंदर भी दो टाइप आते हैं, clin trial, oracle clinical. These are the two types of data management system. And there is a second time EDA studies in which there are three: oracle clinical RDS, Medidata, Rave and Inform. These are the software that are used for clinical data management. Now what happened in paper based study? Have case report file CFR in paper format, henceforth paper based study, nothing special.